We are live.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Althea's December Community Call. I'm Liz, and I work with Althea on all things digital. And I'm here with the team, Jehan, Justin, and Deborah, and also our special guest, Yaxx, Yakubu, aka Yaxx, from Abuja, Nigeria. And we're going to pick his brain about starting our very first Altheahood network in Africa. So we're super excited to chat with him today. But first up, we're just going to go over some updates. I know, and introductions and updates. So Jehan, let's start with you.
I'm working on something that is yet to be announced, but it should be pretty interesting. So that's all I can say.
Nice. We can't wait. We're on pins and needles. Justin, what's up?
So I've been working on the Android phone client, and I've made pretty good progress despite a large number of roadblocks. Check out my latest blog post in which I outline every way in which Android very much dislikes the idea of being a decentralized per byte bandwidth sale client. But I've made good progress, and I've finally got the point where I can get the packets off of the phone and into the routers. So the rest will hopefully, knock on wood, be the easy part because now all the packets are in a machine on which I have root, and we can actually, do the things we want as opposed to having to bow to Android's inconvenient rules.
Nice. And let's go. Deborah, you have some updates for us. And also for the dev update, I will post that in the chat. If you have any questions, ask us in the chat for Justin or Jehan and Deborah. And yeah, Deborah, I know you have an update, and then you have some questions for our guest.
Yeah, so exciting things happening on the community front as well. As everyone knows, we launched Bees Network in BNN in Tacoma with the Tacoma Cooperative Network last month, and that's been established and starting to grow, and that's exciting. We also launched several new Altheahoods in Woodbury, Tennessee, Denver, Colorado, and in Cape Coast, Ghana. So hopefully another network there in Africa pretty soon. And then we're looking forward to, I think, actual deployments first quarter of 2020 is looking pretty close there for the Newburgh Althea deployment, and also there in Grand Island near Buffalo is coming right along at a good pace. So really exciting to see all these networks start up, go through the process of getting pre-registrations and kind of work through the logistics, and then come to the point where they're actual equipment on the ground and actually people getting internet through Althea is pretty exciting stuff.
Awesome. Yeah, we're super excited about all of the new networks.
Yeah, definitely it is. And actually, one other sort of note that I'd like to make is that now we're seeing the evolution of my network in Klatskanai, Oregon as well. So we started, I would think, really setting up internet for folks in about March of last year, of 2019. And now we're at the point where we're going to be adding another gateway. We have, maybe 7 or so relays that are in place now, and really going through that next kind of level of maturation. And that's also really exciting to see that kind of ownership. And at this point too, there's a lot less of the direct direction by myself, where the network kind of just grows organically from the viral nature of the relays, where they come and they talk to their neighbors, and we continue to add people just kind of organically like that. So that's exciting to see that maturing process.
Awesome.
Go ahead.
Yeah, if you want to just get right into Yaxx, maybe introduce yourself, and then we definitely all have questions for you. Yeah,
Yaxx, if you want to just maybe tell us who you are, and then I would love to hear about how your neighborhood was and what the state of the internet is like before Althea, and then kind of your vision now that Althea is in place.
Okay, my name is Yakubu, but a lot of people call me Yaxx. And since we launched comments on Althea in Abuja, at first we were met with a bit of skepticism Also, there were some people that really didn't understand what we were doing. I figured it would take a physical deployment for them to understand exactly what Althea was trying to do. So at first, I think for anyone who wants to build any Althea network in Africa or anywhere around the world, you would actually really need to know your laws. That's the first step. And then secondly, you would really need to have some people having your back, like, proper backing. And that actually really goes a very long way, because at first we were supposed to install this gateway at a certain residence, and though we had the approval to do this installation, later on it became some sort of squabble, and we had to start looking for some other volunteers, and then we're met with some kindness, and we have a current gateway at a mosque in Abuja, and that's where we're running the current Althea network from. That's our first gateway. That being said, after installing for some of the volunteers, they started asking questions. People are now getting interested in Althea, and some are even coming to give me business advice, with regarding the Althea network and so on and so forth. So that being said, one of it's also very important for individuals to have someone who's very, very technically versed as far as radio and networking is concerned, because you would need the help when things go south. You will definitely need the help, and yeah, ultimately all things going well. The fact that Althea is incentivized also adds some other layer of dimension to it, and you have people wanting to resell the tokens. You also have people who want to become relays as well. So this kind of opens active and passive income at the same time, with Althea. So some people really can't wait. Even some people that are not necessarily close to the neighborhood are looking forward to us seeing Althea work. We've got this group of guys at Lagos with a company called Instaport. They've already decided they're going to call their Althea network Oracom, and they just can't wait for Abuja to lift off. And once that has happened, I believe they're proposing to get Althea in the hands of 100 residents, if not maybe individuals. So I think so far so good, and what we really need to do is just get Althea to the people, and I believe it's pretty straightforward. They will get it, and we'll fly from there.
Wow, thanks, Yaxx. Hey, I had some questions too about, kind of what the state of the internet was before, like how fast and how much it was, and if people had home internet.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so and then now that they have Althea, what's their experience going to be like? And I know we talked a lot in the beginning about how that experience, having good fast internet that was inexpensive, was going to be really life changing for folks. And kind of your vision around it.
Well, I could categorically say, because this I witnessed by myself. I saw some of this happen. Some people actually are very open now. They smile a lot now. They ask questions, and they really can't believe the kind of speeds that they are getting. At first they were really skeptical about it, but now we've got believers. So in a sense that's a very good thing. I met with some of them earlier today, and they were like, I told them that we're going to be down because of some maintenance. They didn't even seem to worry, because they're really, really looking forward to what the promise is really all about. And I think ultimately, price wise, nobody's really offering what we are offering. I mean, the equivalent of you're looking at something close to $3 per gig, and we're offering you way less than that. Way less than that. Just to add some context to it, I think what we're offering would be, let's say, less than $1, literally less than $1, and we could actually go lower than that, considering the more people that we have on the network and so on. And that being said, it's so funny that where we're at right now in our country, it goes to say that even the minister wants networks that, or should I say telco service providers, that would lower their prices as far as data is concerned. Some telco service providers did lower their price, but then the service became very messed up. But with what we're doing with Althea, I think we kind of hit the nail on the head. It's a no-brainer. It's just something that really needs to push, and we're definitely going to get there.
That's really exciting. Yeah. So it seems to me that once you kind of get that established, that you really feel like it'll just kind of have that growth. Because
yes, it's going to have.
Yeah. So one of our other organizers had a few questions for you too, kind of about like how, when you go into the community and you talk to people about, maybe trying this out, especially when there hasn't been anything like this before, how do you share about this new network? What are the things that you found that were successful?
Okay, so I'll just give you my own personal experience. The first time I was going to do guerrilla marketing, I was going to go from door to door. I met two gentlemen, and they simply said I should just go to the local mosque. It's very easy, very straightforward. And the same thing was going to happen to churches as well, because you see, it's a gathering ground. It's easier for you to get your messages across. And whatever questions that people need to ask, they get you there. So far as you're always present, they always get you. You're one-on-one with them, and everybody gets to ask their question. And as far as your knowledge is concerned, you keep it straight, keep it real. You answer their questions, and from there, because it's a community, you become part of them in a sense, because you're not a stranger. They see you doing work, they see you installing stuff, and in the beginning, for me, some people were up in arms, or should I say they were guarded. But now most of the homes around the places are more or less asking, when are you going to get me an antenna? Where are you going to get me a router and stuff like that? So that's I think people love internet. Is a necessity for some countries. Is a basic human right. So I feel it's again no brainer. It's something that we actually need for our communication, our education, and so on. So it's something that will definitely grow organically, and if we're giving them at the prices that Althea has promised, then sky is the limit, really.
Yeah, it sounds very exciting. So kind of on that vein too, about introducing these new concepts, I know we had talked about working together with people in the community that already process like cash for digital cryptocurrency. I wonder if you could explain a little bit about what these people already do, and kind of some of the terms that you use when you talk about digital payments, or you talk about kind of the prepay method that you use.
Okay. So with regarding payment, I'll start with in some parts of Nigeria, you have these people, we tend to call them umbrella guys. They change cash for you can send you can transfer money to them, and they can convert it to cash. So we are really not taking them away from what they do. You're not taking them away from what they do. It's simply in this scenario, it's more about Althea tokens or whatever, the XDAI tokens. And if you use the XDAI tokens, basically you educate these people, resellers, and then they will collect the XDAI. They'll collect your cash, sorry, and in return send your XDAIs to your phones or your preferred wallet. And your preferred wallet could be CoinDirect. It could be any other wallet of choice, so far as XDAI is available on that particular wallet. And then from that point on, it's a question of just going to your router and inputting it. And of course, the second option is you go online, you purchase this XDAIs, and you load your router, and you're off the ground. Again, nothing has really changed from the way that people buy airtime, So it's the same system. Nothing really changes. It's just an additional revenue stream for them.
Yeah, that's exciting. That makes a lot of sense. I think that's really kind of all my other questions. I know that every time I talk to you, I'm always so inspired about the work that you're doing there. And then I think that you see the vision of providing, like you said, it's a no-brainer. We provide cheaper, faster internet for people. And a way for them to make income. Just makes sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Do we have any audience questions, Liz?
We have a question for you about Klatskanai, but before that also, and I do have a question, Yaxx. What are some of the surprising challenges? I know Deborah has clued me into a few of them, but what were things that you did not expect to run into, that you might want to share with us?
Well, okay, so I'll start from the top. The first was, after agreeing with certain people that we're going to install the gateway in their homes, they came back and said they didn't want it anymore. They were saying that the radios had radiation, all sorts of, flimsy things. I mean, quite frankly, they were just talking in an uneducated way. Maybe they had some things at the back of their minds. I'm not pointing fingers or accusing anyone, but I try to avoid the conflict. So we decided to find another location. Then the other thing perhaps would be, maybe on my part, because for me, I'm also learning as I go. So we're trying to configure some of the routers and stuff. Now I do understand how to do a lot of that, but at the beginning it was kind of daunting, but it's pretty straightforward, really. It's not nothing to be scared about. And then lastly, I think, which is the most recent one, we had some challenge as far as the antennas are concerned. But we're working on that, and hopefully by tomorrow, day after tomorrow, we should be on track with regards to that. So nothing too drastic. Of course, most of the problems will be political, not technical, because as far as technicalities are concerned, it's pretty straightforward, and we can patch it up for good. And I think maybe as we scale, definitely we're going to find more technical issues, but nothing that is beyond the strengths of Jehan and Justin over here, I think.
Right. Yeah, and I think with all of our networks, there's always a challenge of educating the customers and the people that we want to use your network, and in some cases it's just something they've never seen before, and so they're like, how does this work?
Yeah, I'm looking at it. Say something? Ah, okay. I think I understand what it is. Give me 1 second. No problem. I'm actually really surprised it failed in the middle of a call, because once you get this thing working, it typically doesn't need any special treatment.
Oh.
Say something again?
Oh, hello?
There we go. That's it. That is really weird. Well, I guess this is another one of Whereby's JavaScript changes. Fun. Everybody's been having audio troubles recently. That's why Jehan's been in and out. But anyways, back to the show.
All right. Yes, back to what you were saying, Deborah and Yaxx, about the income and all of that.
So I just wanted to preface that if people didn't hear, we're just launching Yaxx's network, so we don't have a lot of feedback yet. But I mean, I think, how are you feeling about people making between $20 and maybe $100 a month?
Yeah, so with everything, it's a starting point, right? And the plan really is to continue to grow from this particular neighborhood as the origin. So I think it just pays everybody more if we build a mesh network from here. because say for example, I actually did live here. What I would do is to start lobbying other people so that I can put antennas there, and we could have what you call a sharing formula as far as pricing is concerned. And the more what you put in is what you get out. That's just the fact about it. So if you have more relays out there, you're going to make more money. It's as simple as that. If you have more people reselling the tokens, whether it's yourself, whether it's you and a group of guys, the more money you're going to make. So like pretty much like the way you have your Uber or some of these gig economy type business models. So what you put in is actually what you're going to get out. If you put in less, you get less. If you put in more, you definitely get more. And over time, you would see that of course, it's going to pay off. It's definitely going to pay off.
Awesome. We also had a question from B. What speeds can users in Nigeria expect, and what were they before?
Oh, okay. So we used to have like 400 kilobits on certain networks, and at the beginning of this particular Althea network, we're hitting like 15 Mbps. So that's huge. And at the lowest side of the spectrum, we're getting like 6 Mbps, which is still a quantum leap from 400 kilobits per second. So yeah, those are the kind of speeds that we're hoping to get. And we're thinking to partner some other ISPs, for better quality and better pricing, because I think ultimately that really plays into the economics of the entire Althea community. So if you have ISPs that key into the idea of Althea, it will make all the more sense for them as a business and for the community as a people. So that's I think the silver line. That's where you need to place your focus on.
Yeah, that's one of the exciting things about our Ghanaian network there, is that there is a wireless ISP that will be converting their customers to Althea and then growing from there. So I definitely agree that kind of friction point is getting affordable backhaul.
Yeah. Oh, and Matthew is the Guyana part of the organizing the network there. It says that is awesome. So he's in the chat.
Hi, Matthew.
Okay, I think we did have another question in the chat about the Klatskanai network earlier from B, asking about how many subscribers and relays do you have now, Deborah?
Yeah, so we're at about, I think, 55 subscribers. We have another couple signups, and then what's exciting is that our new gateway that we'll be setting up will like immediately bring in 20 new people. So that's really exciting. And then for that, I believe we have about 7 or 8 different relays in the network now that provide connection to other folks.
Awesome. That's awesome. Okay, and unless you guys have other questions for Yaxx, I do have some questions just that were on the sign-up sheet for Justin and Deborah as well. So, Justin, can routers such as Edge Router X act as gateways, or is a server required?
Anything with more anything that's not a Raspberry Pi can be a gateway, and that's just for practical reasons because you need more than one interface. There's no floor on the specs of a gateway. In fact, for the time being, Yaxx's network is using an N750 for its gateway. Here, I've got one here. And these things use a MIPS processor that came out of a serial box sometime in 2011. But that's still fast enough to push 40 megabits per second. And it's not really a problem. If there's one thing we've really managed to succeed with in Althea's design, it's keeping the requirements for gateways, relays, and clients very low and very flat. There's no big difference between your performance as a client and your performance as a gateway and your performance as a relay. Now, of course, you wouldn't want to run a 55-person network off of one of these cheaper routers. But you can feel free to scale on your own time. There's no check-in expensive hardware at the door.
Awesome. And Deborah, so another question I had coming in from the sign-up sheet. What equipment and infrastructure is necessary to start a community? So,
Yeah, it's a really great question. And I think one that we have to kind of zoom back from a little bit, because typically we say, Althea networks are a little bit like a wireless ISP, but how they differ from a traditional or legacy wireless ISP is that they're decentralized. So that means that we, decouple the different, hardware relays and the gateway and the customer service aspect of it from, being a centralized entity. So when you think about what equipment is necessary, think about it in a modular way. Right. So yes, at some point, to start a network, you're going to have a gateway, which is where the high-speed fiber backhaul that wholesale comes into the community and other antennas can connect to it. But that doesn't necessarily have to be a cost that the organizers who are providing the customer service aspect and are installing routers have a financial obligation to set up. For example, you can partner with, for example, in our network in Newburgh, we'll be working together with the Sherwood municipality to provide kind of that backhaul fiber connection at a metered speed. So the organizer there doesn't have to necessarily set that up. And then, of course, your relays, that infrastructure and that cost for the hardware there is going to be that of homeowners or business owners who want to make some money by forwarding bandwidth to their neighbors and providing that connectivity to their neighborhood, those sort of last mile links. Now, when you are the organizer, one of the things that's like kind of your primary financial responsibility is helping homeowners either buy the hardware from you, like what we call the CPE, which is the customer premises equipment. That's just like the small antenna and the router in your home. And then, either providing that for them at a cost up front, or in many cases, you'll want to provide that to them at a cost over time, or even subsidize that cost, especially if you're in a lower income area. So when you're thinking about a network, you might think about how quickly you want to grow, whether or not you want to provide that customer premises equipment at like over 6 months of time, if you're going to require that they buy it up front, or if you're going to partially subsidize that cost. And then you're going to be, as the organizer, making a monthly subscription fee from the network.
Awesome. Nice. Let me check. Is there any? So we don't have any more questions in the chat, and we've got about 2 minutes left. So I think unless there are any more questions, we'll just go through. If you want to sign off, Yaxx, if you have anything else you want to add.
I have a question, and my question to everybody out there is, when are you going to start your Althea network? So of course, so, yeah. So I mean, like, I see it, I feel it, I breathe it. I mean, like, and once it's a bit addictive, once you start seeing people smile and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's therapeutic as well. So I think the real question here is, when are you going to start your Althea network?
Yes.
Let's get it moving.
And we've got a bunch of people in the chat that are in the process on this call of starting. So give a shout out to all of our organizers who are in the chat right now. I also in the chat just popped in Justin's most recent dev update, where he mentioned in the beginning of this call, talking about the ups and downs of building an Android client app for. We do have a question. Can a small internet cafe be set up? From the chat.
So I'll take that one. So an internet cafe there are two interpretations of the question, and I'll answer both. Interpretation one is you have an internet cafe with a bunch of PCs, and you want the time meter usage. How you would do that is that you would just use a normal internet cafe billing application behind an Althea router, and the owner of the cafe would deposit DAI into the router as necessary and sort of deal with mediating the income stream. The other side of that is that if you don't want to have any separate billing infrastructure, you will be able to do that with our new Android app, which is coming soon. And that will look a little bit different because you won't really have desktops. Everybody will be buying bandwidth off of the router, which the owner of the establishment operates and maintains using their phone. So that's the two ways that could look like. And hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, I'll sum it up to put what just in other words. Basically, with the new Android app, all you need to have an internet cafe is some coffee.
Yeah.
And then then you can pay for the penalty by phone, and wherever if as long as you're near an Althea node, it's internet cafe.
Been upstaged.
And I have to say that that is one part of this whole network that I can't wait to see, because of course peculiar to Nigeria and all that, we tend to use mobile phone a lot, and we have I don't know about the entire Africa, but there tends to be power issues, but it's easier for you to have your phone and your power pack. So with the mobile phones, the Android app, I think that would not only be good for the people that are having the internet, but for the previous question regarding the income, I think this kind of answers the question to a great deal, because for every mobile Android client around a particular relay, that means more revenue for the relay as well.
Nice. Awesome.
Yeah, very good point.
That is very good. Yes, very good. And so stay tuned to our blog for more updates about the Android app that we are building and all of that. And like I said, that link is in the chat. Austin also just mentioned in the chat that he had a cafe owner that was asking that very question about Althea Internet for their cafe. So great question. And I think that is everything, unless anyone else has anything else they want to add. I'm just want to give a shout out to everyone who has been watching and saying hi in the chat. We've got a bunch of organizers there, so that's awesome, and people who are interested. All of our links are in the description, so you can follow us on Twitter, follow Justin, Jehan, and Deborah on Twitter. Yaxx, if you have a Twitter, please let me know. And you can.
I do. I'll pass that on to you.
Okay. Or Althea Twitter. Also, we have a Discord chat, so feel free to join us there. And that invite is also in the description. And we will be back in January with another community call. And I think with that, we are. Unless anyone else has anything else, we are all good. We're signing off. So bye. See you next month.
Okay. Thank you.